we're coming off Wednesday's episode, of course. Teammate Wars, one of our favourite episodes of the year. How on earth are we going to follow that, Sam?
A little bit of Pimp My F1, because we're very qualified to talk about the appearance of Formula One cars.
Best episode of the year? I think it's Sam's favourite episode of the year.
I just like looking at pretty things and talking about them like I have any qualification to do so, and also get very annoyed when they don't look very good.
Yeah, I was going to say they're not all pretty. Not all pretty.
No, well, that's where the fun comes from.
Yeah, well, we'll get on to that very soon. I actually listened to 2023's episode of Pimp My F1 in preparation for this episode. I wanted to find out what we voted for last year. You'll be glad to know that within the first 5 minutes, Sam referenced poo, and Harry asked what your favourite sandwich fillings are. So if you're wondering,
show us your fillings
last year, the answer is no.
Oh,
literally not at all.
Tell me your feelings.
We have not changed. The content's not changed in a year. There you go.
Not one bit. And Sam's absolutely right. We are not qualified to talk about this whatsoever. But the good news is for you folks, we're not qualified to talk about anything, so you won't notice too much difference. But Pimp My F1, if you're uncertain what we're actually going to do in this topic, because I appreciate the title itself might not give everything away, we're looking at the 10 liveries on the grid. They have all now been revealed. Red Bull cutting it fine, releasing their livery about 30 minutes before we're recording this episode, although no surprise, it's the same as it always is. We'll be giving out awards such as favourite, second favourite, third favourite, most improved, biggest letdown, and then lastly the wooden spoon, who has the worst livery on the 2023 grid. And I'm sure there might be a rant about carbon fibre somewhere in there. Again, that was something that happened 12 months ago as well, having listened to that back. You can't spell carbon fibre without car was a famous phrase from Sam Sage.
I'll stand by it.
Yep, can't blame you. So,
okay.
Best place to start, obviously. We're going to be positive in this first segment. We're going to go with our favourite livery. And Sam, since you love this episode so much, you can kick us off.
This is the top of the bill. Honestly, folks, you listen to this bit, it's not going to get any better after we give our favourites. It's all going to become misery and shouting and being fed up with it immediately. I feel like it's obvious what the best one is, and I would be very surprised, actually, if there's any major differences between what we say here. But numero uno, Ferrari have done it again. What a beautiful red, gorgeous little beauty that Ferrari is. The yellow is just on point. The numbers settle into the car really, really well. They've kept the big Ferrari along the rear wing, which I think is so classic. It's everything a Ferrari should be. A little bit of carbon fibre on the sides. I don't mind a little bit where you can't really see it and it doesn't really make much of a difference. It helps with a bit of weight saving. No problem. But when that car is so clearly red and Charles Leclerc did one lapping, it had a big grin on his face, and it's just hard not to love the red car in F1, right? So yeah, Ferrari is the best livery of the year. It's just sexy, as Shrek would say. No, it's Donkey. As Donkey would say, it's sexy. And I agree. It is glorious.
2 episodes in a row where Charles Leclerc's smile has got a reference here. It's good stuff.
It's in my mind. Handsome men stuck in my brain.
It's true. Of course, Harry, yeah, you weren't here for Teammate Wars. Well, out of interest, before we move on, what's your reaction to us having the same predictions?
I think my reaction is that even if I get it all right and win next year, it won't be a solo win, and that's the most disappointing and depressing thing I've ever heard.
You have to share half the cup.
I could win, but also still not win. Good stuff.
Right. Challenge for either Sam or Kirsty. Come up with a tiebreaker question for myself and Harry for if we tie. I want you to get your solo win if you deserve it, mate.
Thanks, mate. I'm also... Can we clip Sam's bit about Pierre Gasly? Because I want to play that one back if he doesn't win. It was excellent. Excellent all round.
I'll stand by it even if he loses. Honestly, the barbecue alone is going to be worth it.
Oh, dear.
Okay, so Sam has picked the Ferrari livery as his favourite for this year, and if I'm correct in saying, it was also his favourite last year and indeed the year before. So I think
3 in a row.
3 years in a row.
3. Baby, there's 3.
Harry, are you matching? Because you also gave Ferrari your favourite livery last year.
I am. I'm afraid. I thought Ferrari. I think maybe I didn't do it for 2022, but yeah, last year definitely favorite livery. And this isn't really the same, but it's. I think it's better. I didn't think they could do it, but it's. Oh Lord, it's so nice. I don't know what. Initially, I was like, maybe I'm just so happy because there's actually not a lot of carbon fiber on it, and they've actually painted it. But no, it's just great. It looks so good. It's a shame that it's on a Ferrari, to be honest. Almost wasted. But at least that Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz will look good when everything's going wrong around them. Yeah, that's a lovely, lovely looking car, and the extra bits of yellow and now we've got white in there. Chef's kiss.
So I didn't pick Ferrari last year. I actually picked Mercedes last year as my favorite livery.
Interesting.
And one thing we established from teammate wars midweek, despite the fact that we had a difference in the Alpine debate that Sam went Pierre Gasly, myself and Harry have gone Esteban Ocon. Other than that, there was a whole lot of agreeing. It was uncomfortable for me. And here we are. Both of you have agreed that Ferrari have the best livery. So I can't possibly also say Ferrari. It's just, I can't do it for the sake of the podcast. But also, I don't actually think it is the best livery because I'm about to blow everyone's minds here. Sorry, folks. Sam's going to probably kill me through the screen.
Oh, no.
Because whilst they are imposters on the track, Haas have the best livery this year. It is beautiful. I thought...
And are you drunk?
Hey, no one told me.
What's going on?
No one told me that Midland F1 were back in Formula One. And I was like, that's interesting. And then my second thought was, hang on a minute. I love Midland F1's livery, and I love this one as well. I actually ranked Haas second last year. And the only thing I said was that would make it better was the front of the car needs to be black. And it is. For me, it is the only livery that I looked at from every angle and thought, damn, that'd be great. And good for them because they're going to be slow doing it. Hey, we're going to be able to see this car a lot because it's not going to be traveling very fast. So we'll always get very good glimpses of it. I thought this was nice. It's simple. It's slick. Primary color, black. Secondary color, tertiary color, red. Looks wonderful. I thought this was the best of the lot.
Okay, that was a really good comedic bit you just did, Ben.
I'll do the real one.
And now you could give your real answer because that is. Are you an imposter of a host? Surely you must be. There must be a different Ben under there. You can pull your mask back. It'll be real Ben.
I thought it was great. I think the last year's I thought was great. Year before I thought was pretty good. I think they've just improved over the last few years, and it looks mean. It's not going to be mean, but it looks mean.
Look mean, don't be mean is a good motto for life.
Yeah, that's their motto.
The XL bully of Formula One cars.
Oh, God. Okay.
Jesus. Oh, I don't know if we want to go down that route. But yeah, unfortunately, Midland aren't back in F1 because they might actually be quicker than this is us, but we'll see on that one.
Oof.
We go to runner-up next. So last year, as mentioned, I had Haas as runner-up. Harry, you had Aston Martin as your second place finisher. And Sam, you had Mercedes. What have you got for second place, Sam?
This one is much closer, but I am going to go exactly the same route as I did last year. It'd be really, really boring. And I think Mercedes is second again. I think that the way they faded the silver into the black is really, really nice. I think from most angles, it looks pretty good. The only thing I don't love about it is, which is why it wasn't first, is the halo is completely black and it just kind of digs straight into the silver of the front of the car. But Mercedes have a right to be black. They've earned the right to be black. And I think that they have really done a brilliant job at mixing their heritage, right? The classic silver arrows, which they got all the way back from the 50s and before when Germany, when they were racing as a nation, the color they were given was silver, and it shows their heritage of it. It shows who they are and where they come from. I love that. And then black, of course, to showcase the recent changes alongside Lewis Hamilton to support Black Lives Matter and to raise awareness. And I think they've showed both sides of that really effortlessly. I think the first time they did this weird silver to black transition, it was abysmal. We've seen it a couple of times from them. It's so hideous. This time, they've nailed it. I think it does a great job on having each of its profiles look very tasty. So yeah, it's second place. I think Ferrari comfortably beat it. And I think this is much closer to third place than it is to first, but I do very much like it.
And we'll find out who your third place is very soon. But yes, going Mercedes as he did last year, but a very, as you say, very different design to what they offered up last year. Harry, second place from your side.
We're just copying last year, me and Sam, but I'm going for Aston Martin again. I know there's nothing really much different about it, apart from maybe a bit more carbon fibre, but I just like that. Green is good. It's just a nice looking car. It's kind of simple, but I respect it and I like it. So yeah, I'm going for Aston Martin again. It's probably a boring choice, but it still looks good. And the way we'll get onto the carbon fibre boys, but the way they've done it, there's still quite a bit of carbon fibre, but the way they've done it is that if you look at it front on, looks all green. You look at it side on, looks all green. The only time you notice it if you look top down on it, which I saw someone trying to call out as bad because, Alpine got slack, rightly so. And why aren't Aston getting slack? Well, because they've been clever about it, and you do it from the angles that the TV sees it. So I respect them for being clever.
I don't know if this was the pictures, but it's a slightly different shade of green this year.
Yeah, it's a more green rather than a bit of a bluey green that they had, like almost like a blue bottle last year, whereas this year it's like a green.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe.
You're there. You see it in person half the time. How don't you know?
Why don't you?
I don't think it's a different green. I think it's the same green. Aston Martin green.
I thought it was a little bit more British racing green, a little bit darker. I don't know.
Year one was different green. I think it's been the same green. Oh, God, we're talking about greens. This is good.
Right. Wait, we are LB green. It's important. And we'll get onto that specific shade of green later on, I'm sure. Harry, you need to go to your art team, please. And I want a specific colour code that they used last year and this year.
Okay. I'll get on that.
Cheers, mate. Appreciate it. Have we all got different runner-ups? We do all have different runner-ups because my runner-up is Minardi. I think I like the old Toro Rosso colours very much, and they've mostly brought that back. It's still not quite 2018, 2019 prime Toro Rosso livery era. However, I still think it's a pretty good effort. And I was worried about Minardi because I guess you've got a lot of contrasting colours that could have gone on that car, in that you've got the green of Cash App, which fortunately they've kind of stayed away from, and they've just got the logo, I think, on the car representing green. But then you've also got the blue of the old Toro Rosso, and you've got the colours of Visa, and you've got that red Orlan still on the side of the car, which, by the way, still looks pretty awful, but is an improvement on how it contrasted with the AlphaTauri last year, which I think ended up as my worst livery last year. So I think this is a step in the right direction. I think the Honda looks good on the side of the car. I like how they've incorporated the red, and it just it pops. It's one that you're not going to struggle to notice it in what is a very there are a lot, as we've already referenced, a lot of carbon fiber going around, a lot of black. So I thought it popped. I like this. It doesn't make up for the fact that the name's stupid, but they tried.
They tried. Well done.
They did try. Which means third place. Oh, yes, 100% different green. Thanks, Kirsty. Harry, what are you talking about, mate?
You're a liar.
Is it actually? Oh, she can't answer. I don't know. I don't know why I did that then.
Look at your phone. There's a text message on your phone that compares both of them, and it is so more green than it was.
Please, I'll call it. I think they're the same green. Oh, no, that's under different lights, though. Top one's under artificial lights.
Right, you two can fight about it afterwards.
This absolute scandal. I love it.
I don't know.
Right, away from green for a moment. Third place, Sam. What have you got?
Well, I think, what did I put last year, Ben? Have you written it down?
We didn't have third place last year. We just went to second. I've decided to extend it out. I'm wild. It's 2024,
wow,
folks.
This is new content. You don't say we don't give you something new every year, because we'd be bringing it to you every ball. That is a very niche reference. I don't know if any Formula One fan is ever going to understand it. I don't think anyone else on the podcast understands it. Anyway, third place. I think this one might surprise people with what I'm going to say for third place. And it's because of this new innovation that they've got on the airbox above where the driver's head sits. And they've got this brilliant sponsorship that blends in brilliantly. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called Duracell. It's a battery, and they've done a really good job. I've not seen it before, but Williams are my third favourite livery of the season.
It's like, therapy for Sam. He's like, if I say it, I can't get mad about it because I'm the one saying it. Oh!
If I pretend
I'm going to break the news to him in a moment. They've actually had it on there before.
Anyway, I think the blue is a much more Williams blue. I think they've got some really lovely touches that hark back to the classic Williams days with the kind of the Rothmans livery. The white that traces around the car, I think, is lovely. And they've got some really nice branding in terms of other sponsorships now that sit around the car. And it's impactful, it's clean, it's simple. They're doing blue right. And I've had some arguments with the Formula One livery teams over the last couple of years where we had about 4 different types of blue across the grid. And I think this is the one. Williams get blue. It's their color. They deserve to have it. And they've got it right. So, you know, it's well done to the Williams team. James Vowles succeeds again in elevating the team. It's classic. It's clean. It's simple. It's got Duracell. It's fully charged.
Can you imagine James Vowles just taking credit for this?
I painted it on my own.
Team. Everyone in design is just mad because James Vowles at the front, like, yeah, I'll take this one as well, lads. It's fine.
Pat myself on the back. Love blue, I do.
All right, Williams, third place for Sam. Harry, third place for you.
I've gone for Minardi for all the reasons you've mentioned, Ben. But you know, it's basically the old Toro Rosso livery, which I really liked. It's not as good as you know as the Toro Rosso, mainly because it's got Visa written down the side of it. I don't massively like the way they've done that white stripe thing.
Thank God you mentioned that. I detest the white stripe over its nose.
Yeah, well, I think that could have just been a little white stripe rather than like a big old chunk. Anyway, I still really like it. It looks great, and I think again, like maybe it was the first one that wasn't carbon fiber, and we were all like, yes, some color. But I think it still holds up. And you're right, Ben. It just pops. It just pops. So yeah, I'm gonna go for Minardi. As you say, does not make up for their stupid ass name, but Minardi.
Well said. My third place goes to Ferrari. I think for me, it goes in the very good to maybe great category. I appreciate a lot of people have a higher opinion of that Ferrari than I do. I think it's one of those where from some angles, I absolutely love it. Like front on, I think it looks insanely good. The yellow and white stripes, I can't quite decide whether I love them or not. I've been in this debate for like a week now. So I think from some angles it looks great. The reason I haven't got it higher is because I actually think the side of the car is pretty ugly. I think with the 2 bits of carbon fiber and then you've got that red in the middle, and they've realized we need to pile in like 10 logos in here, and they've kind of just gone, they'll all go there then. Whereas I think if it was a bit more spread out across and it was a full red side of the car, it'd be rated higher from my side. So I think that the first glimpse I had of it was the front end shot, and I was like, holy damn, this is the one. And then I saw it from the side, I was like, oh, okay, not what I was looking for. But having said that, it's still a very good livery, which is why it makes the top 3.
Fine.
Hey, look, my opinion means nothing. I put Haas first, all right?
That's so true. I'm glad you're aware.
Okay, we now go to most improved. Technically, we could pick a team that has already featured in the top 3, but if we have got any other ones that have improved instead, that might be nice for some variety. Just to give you an idea on what we selected last year, Haas was the most improved livery for you, Sam. Harry, you had Mercedes, and so did I. I also had Mercedes. So, Sam, over to you first for this one. Most improved livery.
Well, I'm finally going to jump on the bandwagon, and I'm going to go with V-Carb / Minardi. I think the previously named AlphaTauri livery that we had last season was really ugly. The fact they went from being so smart to being so ugly, and it was the introduction of the Orlan and the Flexbox sponsorships with how they tied into that kind of almost like grey blue color that they had alongside the white. Initially, it was a really lovely 2-tone livery, and then that just impact of the red was really badly placed. It was really blotchy and horrible. I do think the car does a very good job at harking back to Toro Rosso with its almost literal like Red Bull can style color, which I really, really like. And very much reminds me of the original Red Bull liveries when they very first came into the sport. I just don't like on the front of the car, right down from the halo down to the nose, they've got that thick white stripe that goes over the middle. It just breaks up in a really unnatural way. I think it's a bit ugly in that sense. Also, I just think there's one too many colors going on. I'm not sure which one I would take off, but I love that core blue. They have done it nicely. It does go back to what feels like a classic livery now, despite only being a few years ago. And I do think it's impactful. Like you guys have said, it jumps off the page. It does stand out in a sea of carbon. And they have redeemed themselves a little for having one of the stupidest names in Formula One history.
Before I give my one, I'll go over to Harry in a moment, but I would have had them as my most improved. The only reason I don't is because I've got them second, because myself and Sam both had AlphaTauri as last place in 2023. Most improved for you, Harry?
I really am just copying myself. I've gone for Mercedes again. Even though I liked last year, I like this one even more. It looks like a circa 2005 McLaren, and I like that. I like that a lot. And I'm glad that they have it. They could, out of all the teams, they had the biggest case to carry on with all carbon fiber or all black because they did it last year, but they didn't, and I respect that. Thank you, Mercedes. You could have just done all carbon fiber and would have been like, well, yeah, but we did it last year, so you can't be mad at us. But you didn't, so thank you. Put a bit of silver back in there, and it's a refreshing Mercedes livery. It's not just silver and it's not just black. I'm not saying they were bad either way, but it's something a bit different, which they've not. Maybe they're a bit less afraid to do it these days. But it's just nice. It reminded when I saw it, I thought it was like a concept. I just flipped on social media. I was like, oh, that must be someone like saying that's what they'd like it to be, and I was like, oh no, wait, that's actually it. So, yep. Well, Mercedes, you get my most MVP again. No, wait, MIP.
I think saying it's like a concept is actually a massive compliment to any livery, because the amount of times I look at artists' impressions of what they want the car to be like and think, that looks better than anything they've ever produced. Yeah. And I think that every season, but over at least one or two teams. So, yeah, I think fair shout.
Well, you remember Red Bull over the course of about 3 years, every year decided to pull out a concept car and then strip it back to exactly what it always is. And Alfa Romeo were quite guilty of that, weren't they, with their heart-themed car, if you remember that one. I loved
that car on Valentine's Day. It was really nice.
The Renault Black livery still runs around in my head rent-free. So, yes.
A weird fun fact, my F1 2022 career livery was based entirely on that black Renault livery. It was gorgeous.
You said that already. I think you've dropped that one on the podcast before.
I think I spoke about it last year because, again, as with Ben, it is running around in my head permanently.
Most improved from my side, as I say, Minardi's probably the true answer to this, but another one I think has improved is McLaren. I didn't really like the livery at all last year because it looks like a pack of highlighters that you get before you start school in September. And this year it, quite honestly, doesn't. I still don't absolutely love it. It's still middle of the pack for me, but, and honestly, it doesn't look anywhere near as good as the Indy versions, which are insane, but it's still a pretty good one. It's far more professional than it was. Like last year looked like a 10-year-old had created a concept car on the Formula One game. This looks like a professional outfit. Do I love it? No, but last year it was bordering on last place. This year, probably about fifth.
So the IndyCar is so irritating. And I tweeted this when they released the liveries. I said, why do IndyCar get to have so much fun? And we're sat here with a mostly carbon fiber grid. And the Indy livery is so gorgeous. And whilst that McLaren is nice, when you've got things like the original Arrows livery that dig, I think, black and orange so well, it's almost like the black and gold of the Lotus old school, which of course some cars have tried to reciprocate. it's a big statement livery, I think, to have black and orange on your car. It can really be impactful. It's just not enough orange. Bit more orange, and you'd be very happy. I'm sure that's what lots of doctors say to people that haven't got enough vitamin D or C in their system. Bit more orange.
I wouldn't give it.
Just shouting at people.
Just that's the diagnosis. Just a bit more orange. I wouldn't give it to McLaren just because this is like a base livery for all the special liveries they're going to do this year. So what's the point?
That's a fair point. So very fair point.
Won't matter, will it? We'll have forgotten what this even looks like by the time we get to the end of the season.
Here's our special pre-season livery edition.
Yes,
limited edition.
Might as well call it that.
No, it's a fair point. But yeah, first time they've got rid of that blue, which I just don't think was necessary at all. So yeah, I've got McLaren there. We're going to stop being positive now. That's far too much positivity for this podcast. Biggest letdown, Sam.
I am really torn on biggest letdown between two liveries. And I really like, Ben, that you put in that we're going to discuss others that haven't been mentioned yet. So I will save that for the end bit. Biggest letdown is, half-done steak, kick in the teeth. Who cares about Sauber anymore? Because they've stolen our colours, right? They came along and they went, who's the greatest podcast in all of Formula One broadcasting? Late breaking, and they've got a great colour scheme, so we're going to steal it. And they've absolutely pooed all over it, quite frankly. They've literally... It's just a neon green outline. The race suits look like some kind of go-kart rental suit that you get given when you turn up to a 30-minute karting session. Valtteri Bottas and Zhou Guanyu look terrible in all formats I've seen it in. The car just doesn't look good. The social media looks like it's run by a 7-year-old that doesn't know what to do other than on paint.
It is.
And I just think it is. They're all like, we're redefining branding. We're the marketing geniuses. We're so cool. We've got Drake on our team. And then you come out with that monstrosity. I've made better liveries with the same paint scheme on Formula One, the game. And even that's not hard to do. Release one of mine and it'll be better. This was a real letdown. I was hoping that the only thing they'd do this year would be a cool neon green livery, and it's atrocious.
I like how they are redefining branding. How? By not having their name announced at a third of all Grand Prix this year. There's nothing quite like not being said in terms of branding.
Marketing 101.
Damn right. I didn't have stake in this position, although they easily could have been. A lot of people either absolutely love or absolutely hate this livery, I feel, and I kind of don't belong in either camp. I think it's probably more bad than good, but I think letdown is probably more accurate because it could have been very good, but instead it will. You'll see it. You'll know it's there. I'll give it that. But yeah, they could have done a lot more with it. Biggest letdown from you, Harry?
I'm fuming about steak. How can you butcher our colours that badly? And quite frankly, we based our colours off the Brawn, which we've mentioned several times. It's adapted over the years. We've got a bit more black in it now, so it's now effectively what steak have, and you've ruined it. Rubbish. How can you make our great colours of late breaking look so terrible? How? It's like it should be impossible to balls that up. You've got lime green and black. It's really easy to make a cool looking car. And it looks like rubbish. I don't want to swear again. What's wrong with me lately? Very angry.
3 in a row.
Yeah, I know.
You are an angry boy.
Angry Harry. Yeah, it looks so crap. I hate it. And you're right. It's all the stuff around it which I don't think helps, but the overalls look terrible. All the content, and I don't know what's happened. Alfa Romeo have taken their content team with them, but it's
bye.
Yeah, because normally when teams rebrand, all the teams stay the same, and it's just carried over, and it's the same team doing the same thing. But I don't think that's clearly not happened here. Or if it's the same team from last year, they're like being held at gunpoint to make things worse or something. Like they must be, because it's terrible. It's all terrible. So steak
your allegiance to steak. Do it.
And I always come back to a Simpsons reference when I don't know, I don't know who it is. I think Marge is on a date with someone, and they get Tom Jones to sing, but he's like been doing it at gunpoint. He's like got a gun in his back. This is the Stake social media admin. Anyway, it's terrible.
Yep. First thought, actually, when Stake come about this year, wow, this is like Tom Jones in The Simpsons being held at gunpoint when Marge is on a date. It's a fair point. I do have a bit of variety here because, as I say, I could have gone for Stake. I didn't go for Stake. I've gone for someone else. I've gone for Williams. It doesn't do anything for me. It still annoys me that they're not using the golf stuff to its full extent, to be completely honest. I appreciate there's more at play than just that, where I can very easily sit on the sidelines and go, they've got golf, therefore they should make a really nice livery because of that. I appreciate there's probably more financial and other considerations behind it, but it's still a little bit frustrating. It's just a bit nothing for me, to be honest. It's one of those where the easiest way I can describe it is, in 3 years' time, ask me to draw it, and I probably won't be able to tell you anything about it. I don't know. It just doesn't. I don't even disagree with your points on it, Sam, because everything you say is logical and should do something to me, and it doesn't.
Obviously this is the biggest letdown. What were you expecting? Is it just the golf before they unveiled it, or was there something that you thought they're going to do this that's going to be so spectacular? Because I compare it to when they had the Williams 2 or 3 years ago, when they had that weird, horrible yellow bit down the back of the car that just looked like someone had done some yellow snow and put it on a Formula One car, and it was atrocious. But now it's lovely and classy. So what were you expecting that meant it was your biggest letdown?
I simply put, I thought last year's one was pretty good, and I don't think this year's one. I guess I was expecting it to be of a similar status to last year. And even if you put the golf thing to one side, I guess, even though I really like it, Haas and MoneyGram, you know exactly, because of that MoneyGram sponsorship, exactly what direction that's going to go. You know exactly what direction the Ferrari's going to go. I feel like Williams are slightly less bound almost, and they've got room to be a little bit more creative. And I just, didn't really think much of it.
Fair enough, mate. We're all entitled to our opinions.
But Ben's got a wrong one because he put Haas
Good
first.
thing too, otherwise I'll be murdered.
Yeah, say the first one was wrong.
Nah, well. Worst livery. We go to the Wooden Spoon Award. Sam, I'm going to sit back.
Yeah, well, Ben's opinion is wrong. The livery is wrong. The branding is wrong. And the use of carbon fiber is wrong. It could not be more boring. It could not be less inventive if it tried.
It's the worst livery.
It
the worst livery.
Is the worst livery on the grid.
Are you
it sucks.
I can't believe I completely forgot to ask if you were okay after your 1 day coma where you missed the Alpine.
I'll get to the Alpine, but it's not the worst livery. It's a different category that we don't even have on the list.
Right, but, okay.
It's worse than last.
Livery. Okay.
The Haas is carbon fiber with a sponsor that feels, I don't know, like it's a joke on the car. And it's just so dull. They do everything wrong with the colors that they've got. It's just so bland. The Haas branding is bland. Gene Haas has got his friends who are designers, so he probably does the car with some crayons on a bit of paper while he's at, I don't know, his favourite fast food restaurant on the table. And it's just, that's the only colour he's got, red, white and black. And it's not even black, it's grey. It's just naff. It's just naff and boring, and I'd happily not see it all year. It doesn't. Same with you, same with Williams. Exactly, because it'll be 2 laps behind. It does nothing for me other than fill me with eternal rage.
Well, we're a long way from teammate wars and agreeing with everything. I like this. Back to normal late breaking. Good stuff. Harry, you going with Haas? You going with a different team?
I'm so shooketh about Sam. Are you sure you weren't in a coma? Just for 1 day.
I've got things to say about Alpine, but
they're above Haas. But they're above Haas, is what you're saying.
They are above Haas by 1 place.
Oh. Okay. I don't like the Haas that much. I've not really thought. Maybe it is ninth for me. I don't know. It's obviously not first, but at least it's a livery. The Alpine is a car with stickers on it. It just has some stickers on it. And then they have the audacity to say, oh yeah, but we've also got a pink version. No, you don't. It's not pink. It's the same car. Oh my God. Ridiculous. That should be, there's a criminal offence. Someone needs to go to jail. Whoever it is, whoever designed that livery, straight to jail. Awful. That shouldn't. And I know that it sparked off a lot of discussion about minimum amount of paint on an F1 car, which I fully agree with. It's F1. I know we like looking at the pretty liveries, but it's more than that. It's like the branding of the sport. You can't have cars going around with no brand on them because what are we doing here? It's just ridiculous. So the Alpine is more because it may not actually look that bad. But it's more the audacity to say that's a livery. You shouldn't be allowed.
I'm sorry, not just the audacity to say that's a livery, the audacity to promote something else that you're going to do and then not follow through on it.
Do it again.
So this is where you're both wrong. Because that is not the livery. You promote all you want, that's wrong, and I agree, and that's where I was going to get to later. But that ain't the livery, and we're judging the liveries here. So you can't take that as part of your equation. You can talk to that as part of your marketing campaign and how it's an absolute load of poo, which it was. It's the biggest cuck in Formula One. It's the biggest tease we've ever seen. It is the biggest joke to spread camouflage around the internet. And it was going to be this sexy pink camo, which I agree might have been a top livery. And it is atrocious what they brought out. But that isn't the livery. And that's the whole point of Pimp My F1.
I've lost all ability to be reasonable with Alpine, I'm afraid. Because, yeah. No, don't do that, Alpine. Yeah, there is one positive and only one, and you kind of touched on it, Harry. If that car is the reason we get some sort of regulation about how much paint actually needs to be on a car, fine. If that doesn't come about because of this, then it is a complete waste of time and one of the worst liveries I've ever seen in my life. There is one shot, and I'm not sure if you'd have seen the same shot, but it's not front on, but it's almost overhead looking at the sort of back right of the car. And it looks like an optical illusion. It looks like 4 different liveries all combined in one in this very weird, like jaggedy spot. There you gotta, there you go. You got it. Why? It looks awful. I am so frustrated because when that glorious moment comes and Esteban Ocon wins the world championship in this thing, we're going to remember the bad livery that came with it. Honestly, I don't have too much to say here because it's that bad. It's like trying to reason with the biggest idiot you know. There's no point in trying.
Hey,
he's here.
As the biggest idiot you know, I'm going to give you some reason. I think there's a little bit of double standards going on here. And I agree, it's not a good livery. But we spoke earlier on this very episode about the Renault living rent-free in our head, which was all black with a yellow line on it on the side, which I would argue is the same amount of color that is on this Alpine. I have no issue with an all-black car. I have no issue with them having a tiny bit of color on it. The Mercedes all-black car is stunning. We love it. I hate that the whole grid is carbon fiber. The biggest disappointment with this whole Alpine branding, as we've already mentioned, is the social media and marketing around it. And then what topped it off, what put the cherry on the top, was when, I hope you're listening, Mr. Alpine or Mrs. Alpine, social media manager, when you released that video going, it's got some carbon fiber on it, and kept zooming in on bits of car that were coloured. And I thought, you're taking the absolute Michael. The biscuit has been broken, and that is a joke. Yes, it needs more colour, and they have the potential to be a lovely looking car. But I just think there's a little bit of wiggle room in what we're saying here.
I'm so insulted by this car.
It is insulting, right? It's absolutely insulting. And Ben, just to spite you, they'll probably be really good this year now. Like, it'll start winning races. You'll be like, oh God, not that car.
You know what? If it propels the war mode, I might be all right with them. Who haven't we mentioned? I'm sure there's one team we haven't mentioned.
I think all of us have mentioned each team at some point. Yeah.
Red Bull.
We managed to cover all 10.
I mean, that's true.
Red Bull. That's it.
True.
Red Bull.
Yeah.
Looks the same as the livery looks the same as last year. Don't know about the side pods.
The car don't. Oh, they are. Adrian Newey is just messing with Mercedes' head. He's just like,
what are you cooking?
oh boy, have you seen the bit? Oh yeah, because Sam retweeted it. The video of it today going past Silverstone sound like R2D2 screaming. What is inside that car? Look, I'm scared.
R2D2.
I'm scared.
The design team of that car, the livery design team, steal a living. Honestly, I've never seen an easier job to make a livery for a car because it's just literally go Control C, drag, Control V. But there's no side pods. Have Mercedes stolen them? Are they on the Aston Martin? Where have they gone? It's like, where's Wally? Where's the side pods? If it works, there's going to be some very, very grumpy people in the Mercedes garage.
Max Verstappen must have turned up and seen it and just been like, I see you all at the prize giving later in December. See ya.
Yeah.
Woohoo.
Oh, God.
So that brings an end to Pimp My F1 for another year. But as always, we are interested to know what you think. What is the best livery? What's the worst livery? What's the biggest letdown? Let us know at our normal channels, Late Break F1 everywhere. And as Sam likes to mention, the everywhere is not in the tag.